Let's have a quick review. We had a Mishnah yesterday that said if you find a shtar chayiv, that has achrayus, you don't return it. If it has achrayus, you don't return it. If it doesn't have achrayus, you could return it. Those are the words of Rabbi. According to the Chacham, either way, you don't return it. Either way, you don't return it. With the reason for the Gemara, Rabbi gave a reason because maybe you you you're gonna you're gonna borrow because you're worried that maybe the loan took place after the actual ksiva, and therefore you're going to be collecting shloi kedin. And we said, then why you worry about any other star? It was because over here you have a reisa. They found it in the street. Because the fact that it was in the street already lends credibility that the star is not in the up and up. So therefore, that's why achrayis nechasim. What about ein achrayis nechasim? Why would you return it? It said Remeya that what it says Remeya, if he's moida, you could return it. It says and the Chacham say according to Rebbe Lazar, the Chachamim also say you could return it, and Rebbe Lazar said the machlekes was whether you're not moida. If you're not moida, then the Rebbe says you return it because either way you're not going to collect, so you have nothing to worry about. So why are you returning it? To use as a bottle stopper. And according to the Chachamim, you don't turn it because you would be able to collect from Bnei Chayrin. Rabbi Yochanan said the machlekes is where they're moida. Machlekes is where you're moida. But like Reb Meir, you're moida, so you'll pay what from? You'll pay from. You're not paying mishubadim again. Mishubadim always worried, and the Chacham say you don't return it. And the question is now why? Like Reb Meir, that if it's not written in the star, we don't say that achrayus is toy safer. In other words, pasha loan. He wants to go ahead and secure the loan. The way to secure the loan is with collateral. How would you lend money without collateral? Says Reb Meir, guess what? If you do, you do, and therefore it's not a mistake that it's not written over there, and therefore you can return it. Right? Mashen Kain, according to the Chachamim, you can't return it. Why can't you return it? Because it is Taisa. It's not written, you can return it. Now, what are you worried about if they're both Maida that the loan took place? We said you're worried about Kanunya. You know what? You say you paid it up, right? And then the Kuchis, and we'll divide it. Okay, so that's the quick recap of yesterday's daf. And we're up to Daf Yud Dalid Amid Aleph. We're up to Daf Yud Dalid Amid Aleph. And Amash Shmuel, my time of the Rabbanan. Now, what's the reason, says Shmuel, what's the reason for the Rabbanan, right? That they said you can't return a star. Again, Rabbanan said you can't return a star, even if what? Even if it's not written Achrayach L'chasam. And even if they're moida, you can't return it. Why? What's the reason? Because Sadar Achrayas tos Seiferhu. Achrayas is the mistake of the Seifer. If it's not in the star, it's because the Seifer made a mistake. But really, every person has a loan wants to guarantee that what that'll be in the star. Look at Rashi quickly, guys. Achrayas tos Seiferhu. Kisheina kosa b'shtar. When it's not written in the Mishtar, it mistakenly wasn't in the Mishtar. Seiferhu shetah. It was the scribe that made the mistake of not inserting it. A person's not going to lend money without his, securing the loan. A person's not going to throw his money out the window. A person's not going to throw his money out the window. And over here, he'd be throwing his money away. So therefore, since that's the case, don't return it. Why? Because you're worried about you would be able to collect from Mishra. And then we're worried about either one or two things. You're worried about what? Maybe the loan didn't take place, or maybe you're worried about a kanunya. If they're both maida, you're worried about the kanunya, okay? And that's the reason that's Shmuel's reason. Amalei Rava bar Isi l'Rev Idi bar Ovin. Okay, we're up to Yud Dalid, Dr. Leonard. In the middle line, it says Yud Dalid Amar Aleph Amar Rava bar Isi. So Amalei Rava bar Isi l'Rev Idi bar Ovin. Umi Amar Shmuel Hachi. Does Shmuel really say so? That it's toy safer, the toy safer. In other words, you're telling me that it's a mistake. Does Shmuel really say that if it's not, if the achrayus is not written in the star, it's a mistake? V'Amar Shmuel shvach shvar v'shibud tzorech limalech. You have to go ahead and ask. Pirish. If you have a loan that takes place, right? So you have to go ahead and you have to ask the Sefer. The Sefer has to ask you, what do you want written in the star? Like you're selling a field. You're selling a field, and the seif is going to ask you, do you want shibud? You want it nechasim in the shtar? Do you want shvach, that if the field gets improved and they take it away from you, do you want that you have to return the shvach? Shver, does the payment take place from the best nechasim, even though a balchov usually collects maintenance? Maybe you want written in idios, but what's the point? You see that you have to go ahead and ask the Sefer. The Sefer has to ask you. So you see that what? That stam, it's not Toy Sefer. Again, Shmuel said stam, if you have a loan, guys, if you have a loan and that is and a loan, it's a mistake. And therefore what? It be collect from Shabbatim. But you see over here, at least this is being about a sale, right? That you go ahead and you would ask. You would, so you see that what? That is stam. If you don't ask, it's not Toy Sefer. That's the kasha on Shmuel. Let's say there's two Amoraim according to Shmuel. In other words, there's two Manda Amar. One Manda Amar says that what, it's a Toy Sefer, and the other one says it's not Toy Sefer. So like Kasha, no. Kan Bishtar Halva. One, when is it a Toy Sefer? That is if it's a loan. A person doesn't take his money and throw it out in the window. Okay, so we have two. We want to go ahead and mix this. When it's a shtar halva, guys, when it's a loan document, no person in his right mind is going to give a loan without some collateral. So if you default on the loan, where am I getting my money from? If you default on the loan, where am I getting my money from? Correct? So you pay up, you have money. Okay. Why do you have a mortgage on your house? Because the bank is going to take your house. Your house goes ahead, is collateral for the mortgage. The bank gives you a loan. You have the house as collateral. So no person in their right mind is going to give money away without what? It being secured. So if it's not secured, it was a mistake by the cipher. But any stamazah you can collect from. If I go ahead, I borrow from Chaim Lax, and I default on the loan, Chaim can go to any field that I had, even though it's not written in the shtar, he can go collect it. Why? Because stam, toy seifahu. What about mekach and memka? You buy a field. There's a chance the field has a lien on it. Chance not has a lien on it. Good. Outright sale. It's even if I have it for a short period of time, I'm going to have use to the field. So I don't necessarily need to secure that because I'm having use of it. I'm having use of the field. So when the Shmuel say it's Tasayfa, that's by halva. But by Mekach and Memka, look at the Rashi, guys. The first wide line. Obid inshi desavin ara liyume. A person will buy ahead and buy a field for a day. L'safik yemechad. Shemaloyit for whom imenu. Maybe it won't be taken away from him. Vimyivtrafuhu, and then if it is eventually taken away from him, Shemelis Mamaruba, maybe it's after a long period of time. And he'll go ahead and have use for the field. So therefore, it's not.
He'll get paid back for the field eventually.
No, I don't think so. I'm saying no. He's taking a chance. He's taking a chance. The person is willing to take a chance, right? Again, hasn't got paid back to the field. He's taking a chance. If it's going to take away, he's taking a chance. That's the difference between the two. Okay. And now the Gemara brings a story to substantiate that chilik. Kahi Davua Bar Ihi, right? A person named Avua Bar Ihi, Zovin Elisa Me'achte, he bought an attic from his sister. A little duplex apartment, guys, right? Little nice view. Man bought it. Yeah. Asa Bal Chayv, Tarfa Minei, guess what happened? Came the Bal Chayv with his sister and took away his penthouse apartment. Asa Kamei Demar Shmuel. So Avua Bari came in front of Shmuel, and Amalei Shmuel said to him, "Chas v'lach achrayus? Did you have achrayus? Was it written?" So Amalei, lie, I didn't. So Amalei, so said Shmuel to Avua Bari in Cain, Zil Shalma. Gay goes and died. You didn't have achrayus. You're not secured. You lost the apartment. Amalei. So Avua Bari obviously was a Talmud Chacham, Marhu, you Shmuel, the Amar Achrayus Seifahu. You're the one who said it. Seifahu said that it wasn't written. It's unstated. Of course, I should be. Amalei, Hani Mili Bishtari Alva. You know when I say it's Seifa? When it's a loan document. Aval Bishtari Mekach Memka, like Ovid Inish Tizava Arali Yume. Why it's not? Why? Because the oven didn't so you bought it for a day. As long as you had it, as all you does. So the chilik the Tais Sefer depends on shtar halva or shtar mekruch memka. Okay, the Gemara now digresses for quite a long time. Achrayus and different halachas of monetary matters. Okay, if this sounds familiar, you have a great memory because it was Baba Kama Daf Ches, right? Baba Dam. So you'd have to have a very good memory to remember this.
When did we do that?
About 5 years ago. Anyway, so
This the first one or second?
okay. Rabbi says Abaya. Ruvain shemacha sad l'Shimon. So Ruvain sells the field to Shimon. Ruvain sells the field to Shimon. Achrayus. So Shimon it's a sale. There's achrayus. So what does Ruvain tell Shimon? If anyone takes the field away from you, you can come back to me. No problem. That's what he's telling him. Anyone sells the field, you can come back to me. Uba Balchayv de Ruvain comes along the Balchayv of Ruvain Levi, comes along Levi, the Qatar of Lemineni, and he takes it away from Shimon. Now, is Ruvain out of the picture or not, guys? For all intents and purposes. Yeah. Ruvain should be out of the picture, right? Ruvain sold, what?
No, because he's going to come back to him.
Still,
He's going to come back to Ruvain.
Asvas.
So it's not out of the picture.
Why? What do you mean? Ruvain sold the field Bachrayas, right? And now, so came along what? Comes along Shimon. Comes along Levi, takes away from Shimon. So Shimon's going to come back to Ruvain. Good, it's true.
Shimon's going to come back
Can Ruvain, does Ruvain have anything to do with Levi? Okay. So Dinahu, the Azal Ruvain Mishtoi Dina Bahadei. Ruvain can come along and he can go ahead and deal with Levi. Now, Levi can't say, if I'm going to Shatan Mitir, I have nothing to do with you. My deal is with Shimon. That's the question. Can Ruvain intervene? Now, why would Ruvain gain over that? Rashi speaks out. Ruvain has a koyach. Maybe there's another deal, which with Levi, he knows something that Shimon doesn't know. So, can Levi say to Ruvain, Lav bal divarim didiat, you are not my baldin? Can you say, Lav bal divarim didiat, you're not my baldin? Can you tell him that? Or no? And this is what happens. So, dinhu that Azla Ruvain mishtoy dina b'hadei, that he can go and he can deal with Levi. And Levi can't tell Ruvain, Lav bal divarim didiat, I only have to do with Shimon. Shimon had the lien, Shimon had the field, I have nothing to go ahead and do. The Amalei, because Ruvain can tell Levi, the mafkis minei, as Chaim Laksha said, when you take it away from Shimon, he's going to come back to me. So it's not like I have nothing to do with it, right? So therefore, I'm a Baldava here. Very good, Chaim. Ikadi Amri, Afila Shaloi Ba'achrayas Nami. Even Shaloi Ba'achrayas, Ruvain can deal with Levi. Shimon's not going to come back to Ruvain. After all, Shimon is Oif Kahaktat Saris, as we say in the vernacular. He's going to lose his field. The Amalei, because Ruvain can tell Levi, it's not good that Shimon should have Tarumas on me. In other words, Ruvain told Shimon, don't worry about it. You know, it's a field, it's outright. The bottom line is, Shimon is going to have a lot of ill will towards Ruvain for selling him a field that had a lien on it, and he's going to lose it. I can't do anything about it. But Tainus Kenechabin. You can have to, I don't know, what's some Yiddish tonight? I don't know. What? so yeah, he could have a taina. He could, but you could, he's entitled to have a taina. But I don't want, ich will nicht. I don't want it. I don't want to have a taina on me. I don't want to have a taina on me. Guys, you see, it's true. It's amazing. In other words, it's a legal claim. It's a legal claim. I don't want him to have a taina on me. You see that to have a taina on a person is a big thing. It's a legal claim. Even though Shimon can't come back to me because there's no achrayus, I can intervene on behalf of Shimon with Levi. Why? Because I don't want Shimon to have tainas on me. Another din. Okay, this is a very, very. This is sometimes Gemaras I can go through very quickly, guys, and fool you, and you wouldn't know. This is yeah. Do it every night.
Why you can't force on this?
What? No, well, you know what? I would feel guilty fooling you on this. I feel guilty. Okay, let's go outside a little bit. What do we know about? What do we know about karka? If you want to buy karka, you want to make a trans. I want to buy from Chaim. What would I have to do? Kesef, shtar, or chazaka, right? Kesef, obviously, give him kesef. Shtar, you write a shtar. Chazaka, the Mishnah tells us, noel b'faneha, you close it. You do something that shows bilus on the land, right? Bilus on the land. Now, if I give him money, can I go back in the deal? No. Shtar, can I go back in the deal? No. Chazaka, can I go back in the deal? Oh, I made a kinyan, right? If I didn't give money, Ken Zayin is a Mishapara. Even if I go back in the deal, it can have kindness on me, right? So here's the following Gemara. Just keep in mind the din of Chazaka, and I'll be able to explain it. Maybe that I'll understand it as well. Okay? Again, Ruvain sells a field to Shimon without achrayas. Shimon thinks he's got a squeaky clean deal. Everything's great. There's nothing to worry about. Shimon's happy. Ruvain's very happy. V'yatzala asikin, Rashi asikin oiririn, kimoyish asko imoy. People, no one's taking it away from him, but rumors are starting. Epis, this field, it's who knows a lien on it. The city, it was foreclosed. Epis, this guy bought this property at a good deal, and the shine comes. Everyone's smiling. Comes along. It comes out the rumors that maybe it's not so squeaky clean. So what? And Shlobach Rayas. So what does Shimon want to do? He wants to get out as soon as possible, right? Now, if he made a kinyan, can he go out? No. V'yotzla sikin actually hichsikba until he makes a kinyan chazaka. Yachol lakslaboy. He's able to go ahead and change his mind. Shimon can go back and change his mind. Says the top Rashi. Ubeshaloi nasin mois. Okay, so what's the chiddush over here? He didn't do kinyan chazaka. He didn't give money. So what's the chiddush? Doesn't seem to be a chiddush, correct? Well, if there's no kinyan, why can't you go back? So continue Gemara. However, mishehir sikba, once he does chazaka, ain't yachal achsabai. So that would seem pretty straightforward, right? He made a kinyan chazaka. The amalei, because he can tell him. Chaisa de katre savris v'kabals. A bag of wind you bought and you makabel. In other words, when you buy a bag, a grab bag, you think you got something, and you open it up and shine, it's nothing. There's nothing in there. So you thought this field was squeaky clean and everything. Guess what? You went ahead and did this. So, in other words, it's your tough luck. At which time there's a chazaka? Now, what does it say? When you walk around the borders. That's not kinyan chazaka, guys. Why is the Gemara bringing kinyan chazaka over here? It's a Mishnah about what kinyan chazaka is, right? It's a Mishnah where I think it tells you exactly what chazaka is. You go ahead. It's in Baba Basra. The Noel Geder, Poretz Geder, walking around the field is not what? It's not a kinyan chazaka. So it's nothing. It's not a kinyan. It's not a kinyan. So, and why is the Gemara asking over here what a chazaka is when it's a mafurish Mishnah in Masechta Baba Basra? So, the Ikadi army, I feel Bachrayas Nami, even Bachrayas, he can tell him, you know what? He can tell Shimon, Shimon, I know you're going to come back and collect from me, but guess what? Until the field is taken away from you and they write a shtar tirfa, the deal is done. Again, it's only a rumor, guys. No one took it away from him. It's only a rumor. So Shaloi Bachrayas, for sure, he could tell him until whatever this Daisha Mitsu is, he could tell him, listen, what? You took it, you got it. Even Bachrayas, when eventually he's going to have to make good to Shimon, he could tell Shimon until Levi, the rumor turns out to be true, and it's foreclosed, and it's taken back from you, right? Then he could tell him also, I don't have to give it back to you, your money. The Amalei, Achve tarpacha, I not money, but I don't go back on the deal. Bring me your shtar tirfa from Bezdin, and I'll go ahead and I'll collect from you. Okay. So the problems in this Gemara are clear. hey, what's going on over here? If there's a kinyan chazaka, of course you can't go back. And if there's not a kinyan chazaka, so why are you telling me the kinyan chazaka? That's not a kinyan chazaka. You're doing the wrong thing. So really, to understand this Gemara, guys, you have to do Taisvis. Taisvis and your dollar. See, this is Gemara. I could have done. You wouldn't have done any problems. Everything would have been great. No problem. Says Taisvis. Actually, hichsikpa. Says Taisvis. Ema. Hey, Mari, what are we talking about over here? Igamlinos and Mois. If he didn't give money and he didn't go with kinyan chazaka, pshita the yachal achsabai. Why not? Why can't he change his mind? There was no deal. Listen to this, guys. Da misha paraleka. When we get in this Masech, the misha para medar, you get a misha para, right? Even a misha para you don't have. The inasan amois, and if you gave the money, amay yachal achsabai. Well, karka niktas bekesef, and if you gave money, why do you have a time to delay to walk around? It's too late. Unless a place that kesef doesn't work. So one question is what's the chiddush over here? If you made a kinyan, yes, you didn't make a kinyan not. V'oid mishehichzik b'aynu yachal achsaboy, aval b'achrayis yachal achsaboy. Amay yachal achsaboy. Kimin shenas amoyis v'hichzik kamishbot. Why can you go ahead? What? B'achrayis, why can you change your mind? After all, right, the deal is done. Void. Chazaka the Daisha Mitzri, like Ashkem Shmokaim. You never find a Chazaka walking around the borders of a field. Why they leave the Chazaka that is stated in the Mishnah and Baba Basra? Very, very valid questions, guys. Void. Maishna Hachet Sheshoyel Me Amisai v'Chazaka. Yosef Mishnah Makom. The become Maska Chazaka. Like boys, Memes Chazaka. In other words, is this the first time we said Chazaka that you had to bring in here? Chazaka comes up all the time. Upirish Riva, guys. This is the Upirish Riva. The Mari Kigoin Shekona Bekinyan Gomar Kigoin Bechalipin. He made a kinyan. You know what kinyan he made? Kinyan Chalipin. They made a deal. However, V'loinas and Mois. So they made a deal that there's a kinyan. There's a kinyan Chalipin, but he didn't give money. The Ka'amar, you know what? Listen to this addendum to the kinyan of Chalipin. Actually, hichsik ba chazaka the mefarish basa hachi the daisha mitzri shlei holach laakol rachba v'lei samcha daite yachal achsaboy. Isn't it when you buy a house something called a walkthrough before the deal's final? Something I remember, like, right? So even though you pay and everything, there's a walkthrough, right? Guys, this is the walkthrough. You made a kinyan chalipin, but you didn't give money. Guess what? Until you walk through and you samich das, it doesn't happen. This isn't a kinyan chazaka. Memela, that's why you learned a different kinyan. You know what this is? This is the smichas das on the kinyan chalipin that it's a good deal. That's what it is. The reason why we don't ask all over, because all over it's a kinyan chazaka. This mishehichzik ba is not the kinyan chazaka. This mishehichzik ba is on the kind of the chalipin that you went through is not finalized until I go ahead and check out everything. After I check out everything, if everything, then it's great. Then it's great, right? This is Taisvis. Wait, he didn't give money. Rashi says.
The next Rashi says not this chalipin with a walkthrough.
Okay.
Right.
Enough. So you have a lot of kash in the Rashi.
Yeah, a lot. Right.
Yeah. This Taisvis is very powerful. It's very. I mean, he's dealing with. Really, darkest the kachlu. This guys, it's good Taisvis to know because you know all the concepts, guys. You know all the concepts, the chazaka and this, and that's why I went through it. I thought it's important. Okay, so that would explain this kinyan over here. So let's go through it outside. Ruvain sells the field to Shimon Shleibach Rayas, meaning there was a kinyan chalipin, but there was no kesef, right? The yotzala seeking, and now a rumor comes, and Shimon wants to get out as quickly as possible. Actually, until Shimon goes ahead and walks around the field and finalizes it, when is this kinyan chalipin? The damalei because you can tell him even Bachrayas and Shimon's going to get his money back. Says Reuben to him, okay, when you get your start of business, they say you can come back after the field is taken away from you. Then you come to me. Until then, the money, the deal is done, and that's it. I guess you'd have to pay him money then. I guess you wouldn't be able to have chavrata then. Itmar. Right? A guy sold you the Brooklyn Bridge. Guy sold you a field. He's a Goslin. Sold you a field. He's a Goslin. He sold you a field. Ravama, yesh lo yimois. You get your money back. Yesh lo shvach. And even if you went ahead, fellas, and improved the field, you would get that as well. So you bought the field for $100. You put $50 in the field. You're entitled to $150 from the Goslin. Shmuel Amar, Mois yesh loy, shvach ein loy. Moy, you have the $100 you do get, but the shvach you don't get. Nope, you don't get it at all. According to you get change shaganav. You get your $100. You don't get the 50. That's according to Rashi. According to Tosfos, we had to get Metzia. Okay, let's stick with this pashup shot. Boy, my name Rav Huna. Pirish le'as shvach mahu. What happens if you wrote in that you can collect the shvach as well? Mahu. Time of the shmuel that you don't collect shvach. Mishum delay pirish shvach because you didn't explain it. In other words, it wasn't written into the contract that if I improve the field and it's taken away, that you're going to go ahead and get it. But if it's written in, you would get it. By Dilma, time of the shmuel, keeping the less like karka, michse karibis. Guys, listen to this lumdus. Guys, look at me. Eye contact. Ruvain sells a field that's not his. Ruvain's a Goslin. He stole the field and he sold it. Shimon gave him money. Usually when you give money for something, you're getting something in return. You're not getting anything in return because Ruvain doesn't own the field. So the money by Ruvain is what then? If it's not for Mecher, it's a halva. It's a halva. So that $100 that you're giving to him, guys, is a loan. You're lending Ruvain $100. He had nothing to sell you. When you give him back 150, what does it look like? Ribis. The reason, in other words, is the reason Al Swat, it wasn't written in Memela, or no, maybe it's a ribistic din. That money that Ruvain has is a loan. He can't sell it to you. He doesn't own it. It's a loan, right? Now what's happening? You're giving him back, right? He's giving you back, excuse me. He's giving you back 150 when he only owes you 100. That's nefsek ribis. It appears like it's ribis. The Gemara is going to say that in fact is the din. So fascinating. Says the Gemara, Amalei. So Amalei, Rav Huna said, in yes, Valav no, Rafi biyade. Basically, I don't know. In other words, back and forth, exactly what the reason is. So what Rav Huna did not say, Rav Nachman did say. Itmar, Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Shmuel, Mois Yeshloi, the $100 he gets back, Shvach Einloi, the $50 he doesn't. Afapi Shapir Shvach, even though he wrote down any improvement you will get back, my timer, even the Karka Einloi, since Ruvain does not own the Karka, and Shimon has no Karka, and he's getting back 150, Schar Ma'osav, the schar of his money being in the Rishus of Ruvain, I made v'noitel, he's taking. That's called ribis. Guys, you have it clear? Okay, before we go weiter. So, you have a case over here, guy stole the field. He sold the field. The guy improved the field. Comes to go ahead and collect. He wants not only the price of the field, he wants the improvements as well. Says Ravi gets both. Says Shmuel, he only gets the price of the field, he doesn't get the improvements. Right. Says the Gemara, why not? Is it a din that it wasn't explained in the start? If it wasn't explained in the start, would be okay. No. Says Rav Nachman in Shmuel, Rav Nachman explaining Shmuel, right? It's a ribistic din. Since Ruvain did not own the field, and Shimon gave him money, Nimsa, the money that's by Ruvain is a halva. It's a loan. So how much does he owe him? $100. If he pays him back the shvach, so Nimsa, that's called ribis. When I give you X amount and you give me back more in its most basic form. That's the din. Why would you constant? You can call it what you want. Why would you call it kanas? What's a kanas?
He stole it. So he got
What kanas is there by a Goslin, Mendy?
He stole it. That's why he's in the hospital. So he had to pay.
Mendy, tell me, you've been sitting with the share a long time. What kanas is by a Goslin? That's called a ganif. Okay, good. Kanas is This Kanas is this the Gemara in that Rashi always stressed in that Hey Amid Aleph and Baba Kama. Kanas is a dove a kotzav, shloishim shaleved, chamishim shaltoin sefata, kefil, dalad hey, or more or less than what you pay, right? Over here, it's not a kanas. It's the payment of what you get. You're paying me for tit for tat. 100. I'm owed $150. There's no kanas over here. It's not extra money, Mendy, right? It's not. You understand? It's not extra money. It's not a set amount. Okay. Anyway, call a pocket. Guys, we're going to question now that din. Okay. So we're going to question now that din that Rav Nachman says in Shmuel that you do not get the shvach. You don't get the shvach. Good. Okay. Esvei Rav Nachman. Rabbi asked to find Rav Nachman. Now remember, guys, in the Perikah Shaleach, we had a whole bunch of cases of tikkun that made mishum tikkun ha'olam, right? Tikkun ha'olam, things that they made laws because of the betterment of society. So in one of the missions there, it says the following: "Ein maitzin lachilas peris l'shvach hakois l'mos and isha v'habonos minachasim mishubadim b'nei tikkun ha'olam." We know that if a man leaves this world or divorces his wife, that he dies, that the children, I didn't say divorce, she goes ahead and she would, from the Tanai Ksuba, be supported from the estate. As long as she's single, she's supported from the estate. The boys get the Yerusha, so now, if you go ahead and a person owes this money, owes Muslim for Isha, there's no Shibran and Chasim, because there's no way of a person knowing about this to avoid it. That's the tikkun ha'olam. These are things that you just can't possibly know. If there's a lien on it because there was a halva, that you could know. But the amount of money that they had to support, that you don't know. So therefore, you're not going to collect from Mishubadim. B'nei Chayrin, yeah. B'nei Chayrin you would collect. But Mishubadim you wouldn't collect because the Lekeach, the guy who bought it, couldn't avoid it. He couldn't avoid that. Okay. Now, what about Shvach Karkois? So Pashid, if a person improved the field, right? That you would collect from from B'nei Chayrin, not Mishubadim. And Achilas Paris, if Paris were eaten up, then you'll only collect from B'nei Chayrin and Mishubadim. Now, we need the first two cases, guys. Might see me Paris and Shvach. We read that Shvach HaKois. Now, fellas, what's the kasha? What's the case of Shvach HaKois outside? Isn't a guy stole the field, sold it, the other guy improved it, and now he's going to coming. He wants to collect his $50. Can he collect it? Not from Mishubadim, but he could collect it from what? B'nei Chayrin. Why does Shmuel say can't collect it at all? That's the kasha. That's the kasha, right? Guys, Shmuel said you can't collect it at all. We have a Mishnah in Gittin that says l'chayra, it's a guy stole the field, sold it, the person improved it, and it's saying the extra improvements he could collect from free land, not from Mishubadim, but free stuff that's free. Good. Now, why? According to Shmuel, you got a problem. Shmuel can't argue with a Mishnah. Now, what we can do is change the case. It just says the case of what is speaking Shvach HaKois. We don't have to say it's speaking about a guy who stole the field of Goslin. In other words, the whole kash is predicated upon that Shmuel's din, that a guy stole the field and sold it. It doesn't say over. It just says simply that you cannot collect Shvach HaKois from Mishubadim, but you could B'nei Chayrin. The assumption being it's the same seer as Shmuel, and then you got a problem. So what you can do? You can remove the kasha. You can remove the kasha. Says the Gemara. You can't collect Mishubadim B'nei Chayrin, but from B'nei Chayrin, Mafkinon, that you would be able to collect. V'ketani miha, the Shvach Karkois, my love, B'lekech mi Goslin, you bought it from a Goslin. Guys, you bought it from a Goslin, you improved your field, you could collect. Kasha and Shmuel. Loi b'bal chayv. It's not speaking about a Goslin. Now, the Goslin, what's the problem? Guys, it's a ribbis problem, right? Bal chayv, guys, is not a ribbis problem. When you sold the field and the guy owes you money, there's no. I bought a field, right, and I sold it. And the Baal Chayv is coming now to go ahead and collect. It's not pshat that he didn't have the money wasn't a halva. I owed him money, but he had the field. The field I sold was sold. It wasn't the guy who bought it. Wasn't that it was lent to him because I had a right to sell the field. It was my field. I could sell it. So Mamela, it's not a ribbis problem. So therefore, it's not a kasha and Shmuel at all. Let's look at it's a little long Rashi, but we should do it. I think the first wide line, loy b'bal chayv, shetar for bal chayv mimenu, The Baal Chayv went ahead and ripped it away from the Lekeach. Guys, what's the case? Lekeach bought a field, he improved it. The Baal Chayv came and took it away. Now he's coming back to the Meicher, and he wants to collect Shvach. He could. Because why? There's no ribbis there. There's a sale. Right? Bishvul Chayvai. For like Gezula, Haisa, it wasn't Gezula. So once it's not Gezula, it's not a kasha wad on Shmuel at all. Zero. He Vada Isle Shvacha. Vada over here, of course, he entitled to the Shvach, the person who bought it. The Mechir Ma'al Yasi. You know what he's saying, Mechir Ma'al Yasi? It's not a halva. Mechir Ma'al Yasi. Kolzman Shalei Tar from Imenu. As long as it wasn't taken away from him, it's a valid deal. No halva. Because if the guy that you bought it from would go ahead and pay off the Baal Chayv, he would leave the guy alone. So it's not pshat that this field was destined to be taken away. Guys, in the kasha, what's bothering Rashi, what he's coming to explain is, in both cases, the guy's losing his field. He's either losing the field because it never was his in the first place, because it was a stolen field, or he's losing the field because of Meshubah to the other guy. The answer is, the field is yours as long as you own it, because there's no guarantee it's going to be ripped away. Let's say the other guy, the Meicher, would have paid off his chayv. I go ahead, I sell the field to Benji. I go ahead, right, and I owe $10,000 to Meya. Right, I owe $10,000 to Meya. If Meya comes and says to me, Rabbi, where's my money? I say I have no money. He's going to go to Benji. What happens if I go ahead and pay the $10,000? So what do you say? It's a mechira. It's not pshat that what. It's not a halva. It's not. It's your field, and there's no guarantee it's going to be taken away. There's no guarantee. What? No, there's no ribbis there. There's no ribbis there. There's no ribbis there whatsoever. It's a mechira. That's Rashi's point. That's what Rashi's saying, guys. Mechira me'alisi calls man shlei tar from Yimenu. As long as Meir doesn't take away from Benji, it's what? It's his field. Shimpara Meichim Yosef. If I would pay to Meir the money, Lebal Chayv, how do you masulik when Alakuchas? He would leave Benji alone. Hilkach Kimishalom Le Yosim Mashakibel, when he pays him back more. Hashtahu the Hodas of Mine Karka Mechurloi. It's like what? A new deal, a total deal. It doesn't appeal like what? So when I pay him back, it's like a whole new business transaction. It has nothing to do with what? With the halva. Very good. Bottom line, it's not a kasha and Shmuel. Okay, guys, there were two questions, guys, right? There was two questions. One, Metzia me Paris, and two, Shvach. Yeah? Two Shvach. So we're saying the case of Shvach, the second case is the case of Baal Chayv. Now, what about the case of Paris? What about the case of Paris? Right. Ibe Baal Chayv, Ema Reisha, Ein Metzia and Lachilis Paris. Meaning that if in the case that I gave, if May would come and go take the fruit produce on the field, right? Could he take it from Benji? And the answer is he can't. Says the Gemara, so this first case, guys, is you're not might seeing May Paris from Mishubadim, only from Nechayrin. But if you tell me it's speaking about Baal Chayv, he doesn't get Paris. He only gets Shvach. He doesn't get Paris. Good? He doesn't. Huh? First case. Ain might see. No. Right. Nothing to do with Shmuel yet. Nothing to do with Shmuel. What we're going to say is, since clause A is speaking about Gazlan, it must be clause B is all speaking about Gazlan, and then we taught the Kasha to Shmuel. Okay. So now, Ala Paris loy, Ala Pshita. What is Paris speaking about? Big Goizel v'nigzal. It's speaking where a person went ahead, he stole the field with its Paris, he sold it, or what? He sold without Paris, and the person went ahead and Paris grew, and then the nigzal is toying the land from him, and he's going ahead and collecting the Paris. So case number one is speaking about a Gazlan. Case number two must be speaking about a Gazlan. Guys, go back to the Mishnah. Eser Rav Nachman, I'm going to stick the words in for you. Eser Rav Nachman, Ein Metzia and Achilas Paris. You can't go ahead and be Metzia Achilas Paris. Now it can't be speaking about Baal Chayv because the Baal Chayv is not entitled to Paris. So it must be speaking about a case of what? Gazlan. Ul Shvach Karkois, nor can you collect Shvach Karkois from Mishubadim. You wanted to say it's speaking about a Baal Chayv. I would think if the case of Metzia and Paris is speaking about a Gazlan, that case is also speaking about a Gazlan. Oh, if that case is speaking about a Gazlan, you see entitled to the Shvach from Bnei Chayrin, and therefore that's not Kasha and Shmuel. What's the answer? Back in the Gemara. With the ratio begois on nixal, say for nami begois on nixal. Says immediate area. How could he say? No, you're not that. One speaking about a ganif, one case speaking about a goslin, the second one is speaking about what? Paris. Fred the Gemara of Tani Hachi. Right? We didn't learn that way. Why? The Shvach HaKos Ketzad. In the case of Shvach HaKos, what's the case of Shvach HaKos? We didn't say Baal Chayv, guys. Why did we say? Ketzad, what's the case of what? Of Shvach HaKos? Harishagozl saw the Mechaveroi. A guy steals his field from his friend. Bahari hu yoitzim mitachas yadoi. And now he's taking it away from who? Guys, a guy steals the field from his friend. How would you learn Pshat? Touch the words. And now he's taking it away from who? From the Goslin. So I steal the field from Heshi. Heshi's now coming and taking away back from me, right? Continue. Kishu Goiva, when he collects, who's collecting? Don't know who's collecting. Me? I'm a Goslin. If you read it exactly, it makes no sense. Kishu Goiva es hakerem in achasim mishubadim, ushvach goiva in achasim menechayrin. Hechidami. If you're going to take it literally, so I steal from the field from Heshi, and now I'm collecting Goslin min Mangavi. Who's the Goslin collecting from? So obviously, guys, what do we have to do? We have to rework this. It can't be written literally. You can't take it literally that the Goslin's going ahead and collecting. After all, the Goslin, of course, doesn't collect. Elolav kigoyin shegazel sada mechaveroi, and here's the kanaka. Umachro la'achar. Oh, I stole it from someone. I sold it to someone. Vishpicha, and the person went ahead what? And what? He improved it. And what does it say? When you collect the shvach, where do you collect from? B'nei chayrin. The bottom line is, but do you collect shvach? Kasha on Shmuel. Beautiful. So notice, you wanted a case, tell me the case of shvach kakais, speaking about chayv. It says Mefurish the Brisa not right. It says the Brisa that you're going to collect from shvach, but you are collecting shvach, not like Shmuel. Says the Gemara, Amalei, lav terutzu komitartza. Didn't you go ahead what and make a little edification, guys? What did we just do? We added something. We didn't say we didn't say a guy steals a. Look at the Brisa. What's the lashon of the Brisa, guys? What did you just do? You added something. You went ahead and you stole the field, and then you sold it for somebody. So in other words, you're telling me that what? That this brisa is corrupt. You're telling me the brisa is corrupt. It's missing something, right? Well, once it's missing something, you know when I'm making a change? You know what I'll change? I'll change it speaking about a Baal Choiv and not speaking about a Goslin. Okay, says the Gemara. Didn't you go ahead and rework it? So it's not Baal Choiv. Go ahead, what? It's speaking about Baal Choiv. Say it's speaking about Baal Choiv. It's like a geschmack. So we're leaving you off. I'm going to leave off now because this Gemara now is going to go on to past 9 o'clock, and I know, I'm losing my train of thought. So I'm being nice to you. Anyway, so we have we saw tonight some interesting cases. We saw a case about if guy sells a field and to somebody and he's squeaky clean, he thinks he's off the hook. No, he can go ahead and intervene, especially if he has things to taina. We saw a difficult case of chazaka, which really wasn't a chazaka, according to Tosfos, was what? It was going ahead to substantiate a kinyan chalipin, that in other words, we still have time to go back on the deal. Then we saw the case of Rabbi and Shmuel. If you steal something, you sell it, and the guy improves the field, then you're entitled to the money and not. The shvach as well. Shmuel says you're not entitled for the reason is a ribbistika reason. But if it's speaking about chayver, it's not a ribbistika reason, then you're right. So we're in the middle of Shmuel being attacked. Tomorrow night, as Hashem, Shmuel will continue to be attacked.